All right, this is answers for 5.3.3 for the homework. First one is area of a parallelogram. If you remember, to find an area of a parallelogram, it's just like a rectangle. If you notice, I traced kind of the triangle on the right-hand side, and if I slide it over, now I have a rectangle. So that rectangle has a base of 5 and a height of 14. When I multiply those together, you get 70, and don't forget the units, it's meters squared. Area is always squared. Next one, even though it's slanted, the base is 17 and the height is 8. And remember that height must come down and form a 90-degree angle with the base in order for it to be the height. 17 groups of 8 is 136 inches squared. That's the first problem. Second one, what we did in class today, areas of triangles. Okay, and if you remember, we talked about how a triangle is half of a square or rectangle. Because we bring it up, see how perfect I can make these lines. That is half of a rectangle. So I can do 12 groups of 27, which is 324, and then divide that by 2, because remember it's half of a rectangle. That equals 162 square feet. Okay? Or you could also done 6 times 27, which is 162 square feet, because you can do half the base times the height, or base times height divided by 2. Second one, I'll do 9 groups of 8.5 is 76.5, and then I know I have to divide that by 2, so I get 38, and then half of 50 cents is a quarter millimeters squared. That's the second one. Next one, you have to do a little graphing here. So I have the drawing here. If you just double click it, it should open it up. A is 6.5. Remember, the first number is the X. The second one is the Y. And you can kind of see the labels here. It's a little fuzzy, but here's our X and here's our Y. So I go over 6, then up 5, and put a point there, and I'll label that A. Then I'll go B, which is 8, -2, and that is B. Then I'll go C is -4, -2, and that's C. And then D is -2, 5, and that is D. So if I connect these, my shape is a nice trapezoid. And the next question asks you, what is the length of CB? When they say CB, that means this side right here, from C to B. How far is that? Well, I know this is -4, and this side here is 8. And if we think about it like absolute value, 4 plus 8 is 12. So the length of CB is 12. Okay. Next question. Doing multiples. Remember multiples, especially with 5 and 10s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on and so on. Now they make you do 9. So you should have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, and I could keep going on, but it said only 6 of them. The second one is multiples of 12, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and finally 72. Okay, what is the least? Least means smallest common multiple. So what is the smallest number both of these have in common? And remember, our numbers were 9 and 12 because that's what we started with. The smallest answer here that I see in common is 36. Okay, because 9 doesn't have 12 or 24 in it, but they both have 36. Then it says, number 4 is a trick question. What is the greatest common factor? Well, in this list, it'd be 36. But remember, multiples, we could keep going on and on forever. So for 4, there really isn't an answer. It's a trick question because multiples don't stop. you will never be asked to find the greatest common factor. Oh, greatest common factor, excuse me, not multiple. Greatest common factor, okay? That's the factors go into that number. So if I go 9, numbers that go into 9 are 1 and 9 and 3. That's it. For 12, the numbers that go into it are 1, 12, 3, 4, 6, and 2. The greatest one for both of them is 3. So the answer for number 4 is 3. It is not a trick question. Helps if I read that correctly the first time, I guess. All right, next one, 95. Yep, last problem. All you have to do is place these fractions in the number line. If you double tap the number line, it opens up for you. And then you guys can just drag these fractions where they go. All right, I'm going to use my pen to put them in. Half. I'll start with this one. 0.5 obviously is the same as this one. So half should be right between 0 and 1, and I'm going to label that half, and I'll put the decimal below it so I don't have to write them above it. Next one, 2.5. Should be right between 2 and 3. -2. That's an easy one. I'll just circle that. It's -2. 3/4. I'm going to have to squeeze that in here. 3/4. And then -1/2 should be right here. A lot of people think -1/2 goes here, but that'd be -1.5. -1/2 is the same distance from 0 as a half. And then finally, -1 is obviously -1. That is the answers to that last question, and that is the answers to all of 5.3.3. Good luck with this homework.